we've personally found what really gets to the core of the value that you bring is identifying the challenge, like you mentioned, the challenges, and how your solution is able to take them from an emotional, emotional challenge. So there's business challenge, but at the end of the day, that's an emotional thing that's causing it,
Yeah.
and how your business and service is able to help resolve. But what that means to them when that challenge is resolved, like what would that make you feel? What would that mean to your business? What would that mean to you personally? And for people to go from, we have conversations with business owners about, overwhelm, I'm just doing everything, I'm just exhausted, to, all right, what does it mean if someone was to be able to take away, 20, 40 days of this repetitive thing you've been doing? What would that mean for your business? Oh my goodness, it'll free up so much time. I'll be able to spend, how you've gone from that to that level of, oh, something's been lifted off my shoulder. And that's for any business owner there, it's about the journey of taking someone from the challenge and the problems they're having to, hey, this might be the solution, which is going to be able to take you to where you want.
Yeah, so you want to solve their problem. They come to you with a problem, right? And the skills of a salesperson today are very different to those of yesteryear. So yesteryear was all about being slick, manipulative, deceptive, etc. Sales is not that at all. In fact, everybody, like people say, oh, I'm not in sales. Well, guess what? You are. If you've ever negotiated to which channel to watch on the TV, you're selling. You're negotiating. If you're a parent, you are negotiating all the time, right? So we're all negotiating. Let's not say that we're not in sales, because we are. If you're in small business, you're in sales. Your core product may not be, as in a salesperson, but you've got to get your core product out there. You're in sales. So we've got to overcome this, this thought that we put around sales, because it's about helping people. It's about adding enormous value. Right, that's what selling is all about. So the skills are great listener, as I talked about, great at questions, being empathetic, really understanding what it is that someone is going through, being curious. Again, links back to the questions. You want to be curious, be patient, right? You're not going to sell on the first time each and every time. It's just not reality. Depends upon what your products are, but the reality is it's just not going to happen. But be patient. Right, so a lot of people have this expectation that I'm going to sell on the first time. When it doesn't happen, if your expectation's here and you finish here, well, you feel like crap. Right, it's a massive drop. So I say to a lot of people, so again, for example, with my franchise customers, they spend a lot of time going to see property managers. And so I say to them, well, don't go and expect to sell. Why don't you go there and just have an expectation of saying g'day? Could you do that? Yeah, I could. Great. So now, again, 3 words, top of mind. We want to go around there. We have a nice little pack. We go around and we say hello. And that's all we're doing. We're not trying to sell. We're simply letting them know that we exist. So go back to the point you said earlier around, Anthony talks about ghosts. I'd say it's a little bit different, which is we're trying to sell a secret, right? And it doesn't work. So you've got to let people know. And so you just go and say hello. So you adjust your expectations. That's one of the key things. Because now when you adjust your expectations, you're not going to feel like crap every time. Because if you expect to sell and you don't sell, and you expect to sell and you don't sell, and you keep doing that all the time, then you just feel dreadful.
I think that the thing that you bring up there about expectations as well, and what I've found really effective and really successful salespeople do, is they set the expectation and the agenda for the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to say, okay, today it's really just a discovery, just an exploratory session to see if it's something that we can do.
Mm-hmm.
But not necessarily sell at that point, like you said, that initial introduction.
Mm-hmm.
It might take a second call where you're sitting down and going, all right, what we're going to do, today is work out whether we are going to be the right fit, and if you want to be able to work with me. Then from the very beginning, your prospect already knows that there's some sort of a decision that needed to be made at that point. So, I think it's important that setting expectations from the beginning, so that for you and the other person, what to expect as to, all right, is this going to be a sales call? Is it going to be a meet and greet call? Because it's a different mindset when you're going into those sort of conversations. I mean, that's sort of what we've found.
Well, it's framing the conversation. Frame the conversation. The other thing I would say is that you want to have a sales process. You don't want to wing this stuff. right? So you want to have a repeatable process that you go through, and that repeatable process may just be some top line topics that you want to cover off, right? But you want to have something repeatable because now it's consistent, right? Because the number of times that if you wing it and you'll get to the end of the phone call or you get to the end of the face-to-face meeting and you'll go, oh, if only I was going to ask that question. You talked about planning. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So plan out the things that you want to ask. Create a little process for yourself. What are the types of questions? Like you said, talk about the objective. Hey, look, the objective of today's meeting is blah, 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 whatever it might be. Have your own objective. At the end of this meeting, in your own mind, what are the things that you like to get out of this? Right? So there's a whole lot of planning. It's not just, hey, there's a lead. Let's give them a buzz. It's a process. It's a process. It's a process. And that's where a lot of small business owners go wrong, is that they wing it all the time, right? So there's a whole lot of science in around the selling, but you've got to put the preparation into making that happen.
Yeah, and I'll add to that and say, don't be afraid to come up with a bit of a guide or a script for your calls as well, because the more that you're able to do that, the more you are able to guide people on a journey, because they want to be able to see that you're the expert and you know what they need. And so if you're able to guide them on that journey, they're going to be able to go, oh, I'm going to follow on this journey.
Well, no, so absolutely there's that, but also then you want to make sure that you get all the information that you're after. And there's absolutely, if you're on the phone, then you're going to have something in front of you. No one's going to see that script, right? And as you know, I wrote another book, which I'm not even talking about that book, but another book for a whole different style of business. And that has a script in it, right? Because I want people to get into the practice of following through. It's like karaoke. You want to follow the bouncing ball. And so it's like follow through the various points that you want to make. You don't want to get off the end of the phone call and go, oh, damn, I wish I had have asked X or that or whatever. No, that's poor planning, right? So it's about following through on the script. Also, having a script is wonderful because quite often conversations will head off in areas that you just didn't expect, and that's okay. But now having a script in front of you helps you now bring that back to the place where you want to take the conversation.
Yeah. Let's go back to that point about process. And I see Mr. Luke Maroney's joined us again. He says back again, hello. Process. Why is that something that we need to have in place to be able to scale?
Well, because it's repeatable, because it's efficient, because it gives us a roadmap. So we want to be able to have repeatable things that are happening. That's important to have process, right? You're talking about then from a scaling point of view, which is even different again. It's around itemizing out. So when you scale, you're bringing on staff. When you have staff, you want them to do exactly as you want them to do. The best example that I can give you of process is Macca's. I worked in McDonald's, albeit a long, long time ago, and they have the standard operating procedures. And you go to anywhere in the world, the Big Mac is a Big Mac is a Big Mac. And say what you want about the quality of their food, but I can tell you what, from a systems and processes point of view, there is no one better. And so it's about so that's how they get 15-year-old kids, making your food. They get 17 and 18-year-old kids running a multi-million-dollar restaurant. They don't just do this by accident. Right? It's because there's a process. It's a repeatable process. A process is absolutely critical. Systems, processes, it's essential to any business wanting to scale, but it's also essential to selling as well.
Yeah, and I watched the movie Founder. Have you watched
it? Yeah, watch it. Yeah, absolutely.
Batman, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, yeah. So Ray Kroc, yeah.
It was fascinating to see that. And it was, I was thinking about my business. I was thinking about businesses to go, oh my goodness, how can we all do this to a certain point, to systemize what it is that we're doing? So it doesn't matter who goes in, who's doing it. And to be able to also, the long term, a lot of people go into business because they want freedom. A lot of people go into business and are basically have bought themselves a job, which they're probably not being paid very well because they don't have a system of sales in place.
Yep.
So it is important to be able to sit down and we're sitting now, we've got processes and systems in place. We're sitting down with someone who's helping us put together our processes and systems so that if it's not me that's doing the sales calls, there's someone else, but they know exactly what to do at each time. They know templates are, they know who to talk to at that point. And it's really helpful to have someone outside of your business do that, because sometimes we've got our blinkers on and we're so used to how we're doing things.
Well, the ultimate objective is, how do you make yourself redundant? So as a small business owner, and I know for a lot of small business owners, they'll be thinking, oh my gosh, what's this guy on about? But how do you make yourself redundant from your business? That has to be a goal. Now I am not in that position at the moment, but it's an absolute goal of mine. And I've got two, wonderful VAs that are with me now. And, we've also got others who help me from a graphic art point of view. But how do I make myself redundant, and how can all small business owners do exactly the same? And so in order to have staff that are trained, that are consistent, that are following the process, there needs to be a written procedure. There needs to be a video or a Loom video or whatever it might be, so that now anyone can walk in and they can pick it up and they can run with it from day one, or whatever it might be. That's also, then once I've had my phone call, what do I now do? I've got all this information. Based on information, which way in the flow chart does it go? Does it go, so it's about knowing what it is that I have to do next in my business. But that should be a challenge and an opportunity for all small business owners, is how can I ultimately remove myself from the business? Because so take, for example, me, like I'm a business coach. That's what I do. And I coach people. And so if I'm not coaching, then I don't have a business, right? And so for me, we're in the process of creating automated programs that will sit there and that will just run forever, and will provide value to various clients. We have to do more and more and more and more of that, because again, it's about me taking myself out of the day-to-day running of my business. Because if I'm sick, if I want to take a break, then the income stops.
Yeah. And even like, that point, so many business owners, their short-term goal is just to be able to take a holiday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Without having to look at the computer or the phone or whichever.
Mm-hmm.
Have a think about how you can do that, but still grow your business and have sales come in at the same time.
Well, that's the latency effect. The latency effect is, you want to put things in place now that take effect in 1, 2, 3, 4 months' time. You want to work hard on what can I do today that's going to set me up for future success. Because the reality is, if you're struggling with sales, whatever you do today is not going to give you an instant result tomorrow. It's just not going to happen, right? But it'll give you a good result in a month, in 2 months, etc. Go back to the whole ghosting or selling secrets or whatever it might be. You have to start that process. You have to start at some stage, right? Now, immediately, people aren't going to go, oh, great, there's that business coach guy. No, you've got to do it again and do it again. And I can't recall the exact stats. Perhaps Anthony can chime in, but I think it's something around between 8 and 12 impressions, give or take. There's different articles on this. 8 or 12 times people need to see something from you to start to resonate with what it is that you do. Why do I do Facebook Lives all the time? Because it's one of those things to help me be top of mind. Why do I do something on a Sunday morning with my good buddy Luke Moroney? Because it helps me become top of mind. Why do we post constantly on social media? Why do we do a whole range of things? Because it's top of mind, top of mind, top of mind. That's my business, right? And I'm looking to lead by example. So for all of our businesses, it's about doing the same. Now, what I will say is, not everyone needs to go and put themselves out there and do videos, because a lot of people are very uncomfortable with that. And so if you're uncomfortable with it, the first thing I'd say is, can you lean into that? Now, we all can. And I have my first YouTube video still sitting there for all to see. And it's a shocker, from about 3 years ago. But I have grown, developed, progressed. But some people just will not ever be, any good in front of video. And that's the facts. But here's the thing. They may be an amazing podcaster. They may be an amazing blogger. Right? They may have the art, so they're able to then communicate very, very differently. And so it's about self-awareness, recognizing that, how do I get my name out there? It doesn't have to be by me doing a video all the time. There's plenty of other ways, but you've got to do it. You've got to get your name out there in a variety of ways. Otherwise, again, selling secrets, being a ghost. Go to network meetings. So it doesn't have to be email. Go along to a local network meeting. Join up meetup.com. right? Join up various Facebook groups and contribute into the group. Let people know about who you are. There's so many ways that people can do that, right? And that's the awareness bit. Then the other bit is, now that I've got the awareness, what are the things that I can do to grow my sales phenomenally, right? And I talk about in my book, there's 4 key ways that you can grow sales. First one is new customers. We've talked about it. Anthony's going to cover it. I'll leave that to him. The next way is through what I call basket size. Again, it's a McDonald's terminology, right? Would I like fries? Would you like fries with that? You go in there to buy a burger or whatever it is, $5, whatever it might be. Hey, would you like that as a meal? You go to spend $5 and you walk out spending $8 or whatever the prices are, right? But my point is that now I've been able to sell more to that person in that transaction. And that's just Macca's, but the same applies to everyone's business. It's like, is there something that you can find that then bundles together, right? You can provide something extra over the top. So now I'm getting more from that particular client. That's the first way. The second way is that if someone's only going to buy one thing, how do I get them to buy the very best thing? So there's a good, better, best scenario, right? So if I'm going to only buy one thing, well, for me, the best thing is one-on-one coaching with me, but then you can also do group coaching, which is a lot cheaper, right? And so for me, it's about how do I migrate people up to buy the best thing? And again, think about in your own business, how do you go about doing that? What are the things that you've got to give people choice between, it might only have 2 choices, a good and a best, or good, better, best, right? That's the second one, which is how do I get the price up? The other way to get the price up is easy, take the price up. Right, so take a price rise. So all of a sudden, if you're charging $20 for something, charge 22. And quite often it's an interesting phenomenon that happens when people take price up. Is now all of a sudden the perception around that product goes through the roof. Oh my gosh, that must be amazing because it's expensive. Right, so a lot of people have this fear around price. It's like, oh, I can't possibly take my price up. Right, well that comes back to their own self-worth. Whereas it's like, you know what, I know that I'm doing amazing things, or this product does amazing things, and I'm going to charge appropriately. Don't have to always be the cheapest, because there'll always be someone cheaper than you. And that's just a fact. And being the cheapest is a very easy strategy, but it's not a sustainable strategy, right? So go back to the point I made earlier, which is stack more value on. So now it's like, gosh, that's amazing value. Amazing. I get all those things, right? And a good example is what they do in, with, say, gaming consoles. Gaming consoles, they stack all sorts of things in there with games and with controllers and different, the actual console itself, etc. And they have all these different stacks. And so it's hard to compare now between Big W and Harvey Norman's and whatnot, because I've got all these stacks. It's creating this enormous value. But again, think about within your business, what is it that you could do to stack more in? So for example, for you guys, it could be, well, hey, we have this basic service, or this sort of, this introductory service, but now we do these other add-ons. We can do for you your Keep automated campaign. We can do for you your website management. We can do, so now I'm stacking a whole lot of stuff together. The third way is frequency. Oh, sorry, the fourth way, because I talked about the customers, new customers. The last way is frequency. How do I get someone who's using my services once every 6 months to use my services once a quarter? How do I get someone who's using me once a year to use me once every 6 months? Now I've effectively doubled my revenue from that one client by simply doing that. What are the things that I can do to increase the frequency? And there's so many things that I can do to increase the frequency. So coffee shops do this all the time. Buy 5, get your 6 for free. Hairdressers are now doing this sort of stuff, right? So there's a couple of retail examples. Frequency, offer a promotion. Give me a reason to come back to you again. Give me a reason to spend from you again. A Christmas promotion. Right, it's that time of year. Give me a reason. Maybe I just bought from you recently, but now you've got this Christmas promotion. I know it's Black Friday's coming up. So there's that. Have you got something that you can offer in that regard? Right, then we'll come into the new year. It'll be the back to schools and the Valentine's days and Mother's Days and on it goes. So can you find reasons? Perhaps there's some new information that you've found. Perhaps there's a new product that you've created. Give me a reason to come back to you. So the 4 ways that you grow your business is new customers, basket size, average sale price, and frequency. They are the only 4 ways that you will grow sales. Now, underneath those, there is a gazillion tactics that you can adopt, but at the highest level, that's it. There's only those 4.